everybody. This is my first show, Empower Hour, with myself, Nakornsri. I'm so excited for you guys to tune in. This is a platform to educate, to inspire, to enlighten the audience to reach their full potential. Today, I'm going to be interviewing someone very, very special. He is a true entrepreneur. He's making a great difference in his community in Arizona. So I have some questions for you. First of all, I'm really, really excited to introduce you guys because he's 26 years old and he has a really great business in the home care business in Arizona. So, Carl, right?
Yes, Carl Santoro. That's thank you so much, Nak. I appreciate you having me. Coming all the way from Arizona to the cold DC weather that you guys experience here.
How are you enjoying the weather?
It's good. I'm originally from Philadelphia, so it's good. It's like being home. So, but thank you. It's an honor to be on the show. So thank you so much for having me.
I am so honored for you to be here.
Well,
thank you.
Absolutely.
So are you ready to educate everyone that's watching us?
Absolutely. And this is, for me, this is just something that I'm so passionate for what I do. So to be able to, give some advice on, what I'm currently doing and how I've gotten there is definitely something that, I would love to, to share. So
thank you. So can you tell us how you got started? Tell us a little bit about your company. Tell us everything.
Absolutely. So, for me, I was fortunate enough to, obtain my MBA at a very young age. And, education, I think, is really what has guided me to where I am today. And with that being said, I've always had the passion to be an entrepreneur. Starting out at a young age of just selling stuff on eBay.
Wow.
For me, I've just always have worked hard, and I knew one day that I was going to be my own boss.
Wow.
So to, like I said, obtain my education at a young age,
right.
and to be able to really put my, dream into owning a business, its reality is something that it's a blessing. It hasn't been an easy journey by any means.
Yeah.
But that just comes with the grind,
Can you tell us a little bit about Compassion Assistance?
Absolutely. So we provide in-home care to seniors who want to stay at home. So we provide, private caregiver services to private RN services to individuals in their home.
Right.
And it's
a good
it's
business?
great. Absolutely.
Because it's meaningful and touching?
It's so meaningful. And for me, I have a younger brother, Joseph, with Down syndrome. So growing up, I've been a caregiver for him, my entire life. And I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm very passionate about what I do.
Yes.
So for me to be able to help these families in need at this point of time in their life is great.
So it's rewarding and fulfilling.
Absolutely.
Yes. Was this always something that you always wanted to do?
For me, I think one thing that, growing up with a brother with disabilities is he's always taught me to never look at someone's, disability, to really look at their ability and to help guide them through life, because I think the effect that you have on others is the most valuable currency that there is.
Wow. That's powerful.
It's the truth.
So he has made an impact in your life as well.
Absolutely.
To want to help, to want to better, assist people that have disabilities.
Yes.
So he inspired you to do that, you're saying?
Absolutely.
So you always wanted to be in this industry?
For me, it's kind of one of those things where, I just always wanted to help people. It's fortunate enough that I'm in a good area where there is a need for what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, there's so much opportunity throughout the entire U.S. For what I do. And I think the most difficult challenge that I face is I want to be able to help everybody and all their families.
Wow.
But the reality of it is, it's just you can't do that sometimes. And for me, that's the most difficult thing that I do face. But with that being said, the families that we do work with, it's.
What do you mean you can't help everyone?
The biggest, because for what I do, it's all out of pocket. It's not covered by Medicare or insurance. That's the biggest thing that I hear is, they can't afford your service.
Right.
So for me, it's tough. We've had a few state and government contracts to help families. But it's a shame just the way how that works sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into all that, but with that being said, it's for me. I wish I could help everyone, but in the reality of it is, unfortunately we can't.
Yeah.
But I hope to one day to change that.
That's really impressive. Your company was voted #1 on care.com. What makes Compassionate Assistant different from the
and that was a true honor. My company was voted #1 in Maricopa County for 2018, and for me it really started with my team. Without my team, the behind the scenes of coordinating the staff for these families, we wouldn't have gotten that award.
Wow.
I strive to raise the bar in what we're doing, which obviously we do a good job. And again, it's tough because there's a lot of other companies that do what we do.
Yeah.
So for me, it's how do I separate myself from the 500 other agencies that are in Arizona.
Right.
And again, it
Wow.
really does start with the team and doing the little things. Adding that personal touch to the care that we provide. We have a full-time registered nurse that's on staff 24/7.
Yeah.
They oversee all of the care plans for the families, and that right there that's huge.
Right.
We also have, through our technology, it's called a family room portal. So what this portal will allow you to do is you can actually log in and you could view the schedule for the week. You could see which staff member is going to be with your loved one.
Okay.
If there's any tasks that you need to be completed, you can add to that. Medication reminders, you could pay your invoice on there. It really gives families that peace of mind, and even healthcare professionals that they can just log into the portal at any time and see what their
Right.
loved one's up to. So.
Oh, wow. So you had to kind of see what it is that you guys were missing as far as like taking care of your brother. So now you're like, this is what we're missing is compassionate
Absolutely. And I think, going back to that, the most difficult thing for me, growing up was really not knowing, not really knowing what was going on, with my brother. There was just people in and out of the home constantly being pulled to, appointments here and there. But luckily for me, my mom was a nurse.
Yeah.
I love you, Mom. And for her and, my family and, my dad and my sister to really help guide us through his journey.
Yeah.
What was the most, I think rewarding thing.
Yeah.
And I understand that all families, they don't get that opportunity. They don't have that setting. So for me, I want to be able to, take what I learned and basically, I don't want people to go through what I went through,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
So a lot of times I see these stories and like social medias and like the news and everything where people are actually, hurting the,
Right.
people that they're taking care of. How do you ensure that your staff is not doing that?
And that's a good question because you see something on the news, almost weekly, or if not a news article every day about something happening
Yes.
like that. And it starts with being selective with who we bring on board. And that to me is, I'm very passionate about, again, about what I do. And I'm not just going to hire anyone for compassionate assistance. We're very, very selective. I think, we hire close to 1 in every 25 people that interview for the company. And there's a reason.
Wow.
There's a reason for that. For me, it's one of those things where is this person that I'm going to hire, would you want them taking care of your mom or dad? Your
Right.
grandma or grandfather.
Right.
So, with that being said, they have to be in it for the right reason, and they have to have the compassion. They have to understand. They have to really fit the image of what we're doing.
So it's like a cultural vision, mission-based company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the people that come in that just want to get a paycheck,
Right.
that's not a good fit. It's just not a good fit. And I tell them that, and it is what it is. So.
That's amazing. I mean, you're only 26 years old and you have all of this insight and knowledge of business, especially.
It's great. And like I said, there's a lot of good things to come. We're making a huge impact on the West Coast.
Yes.
And, for me, it really just, again, starts with my team. So.
Yeah. Is it stressful?
I mean, what's not? You know what I mean? That's life. I tell my team all the time is, there's just certain things that you can control in life. So be in control of what you can control.
Yeah.
Don't let any of the outside distractions that you unfortunately can't control affect you.
Right.
So you have to have that strong mindset and
Right.
really just keep pressing on. So
I love it. Okay, so like, what are some questions? Or sorry, what are some questions an inspiring entrepreneur have to consider before starting their own business?
I think that's a great question to ask, because when people say they want to start a business, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you really need to consider. And I think the first thing is you need to ask yourself, what problem are you solving? What are we solving? What is the purpose behind the business?
Right.
Secondly, it's the financial. Starting a business, you have to have some type of capital
Right.
to do what you want to do. Number three, who else is doing this? I'm a firm believer that, model the masters. If there's someone that's currently in your space doing what you're doing,
Yes.
look at what they're doing and model that. Very, very simple. It's an easy tactic. But with that being said, it's find someone that's a competitor that's doing what you're doing and model that. The fourth thing is you have to separate yourself. You have to have that special sauce or that differentiator that's going to separate you from, McDonald's or Wendy's.
Yeah.
So that's really going to come with what you're doing and what your mission and your values are.
Yeah.
So really, separating yourself in the marketplace is huge. And then lastly, I think it's, what resources do you currently have? With the internet nowadays, there's so much that's at our fingertips.
Yes.
That you could just utilize with the click of a button, the dial of a phone call. So I think that's another thing that, using these resources to our advantage.
Yes. Well, what do you say to those people that are, that don't have the capital, but they have big dreams and they have the blueprints, but they just don't have access to that?
Yeah, no, and that's a great question. I will say this, there is a lot of resources out there that provide financial assistance.
Okay.
I think the first thing is family or friends.
Okay.
Ask a family member, ask a friend. But secondly, there's just a lot of resources in each state that have these programs designed for small businesses and entrepreneurs that, again, a lot of people don't know about, but there's grants and funds that are easily available. With that being said, there is a lot of work that goes into getting these, from full business plans to presenting your business to make sure it's going to succeed. So there is the resources out there.
Yeah, it's true. One of my friends was saying how the only thing that he can really control was his planning and his preparation, and he was allowing, he was letting go of what the result was.
Right.
Like, meaning, he can't control how it's going to end up, how successful it's going to be, but what he can control is the plan and preparation. And you were just saying something
And I think
like that.
I say this all the time. Half of these sports teams, professional sports teams, even college teams that we watch, are ran better than businesses. And why is that? The planning that goes into the games, the preparation, the practice,
Right.
the execution
Right.
that they do on a day in and day out basis that makes these sports teams more successful than some of these businesses out here. So with that being said, I think you could take a great sports team and really look at what they do,
Right.
and really model your business off of that.
Right. So some techniques that you have to like plan and prepare what you do. Like, I know you mentioned before that you like to go to seminars, leadership seminars and workshops and things like that.
Absolutely.
Is there some things that you do to help you plan and prepare?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the little things that I do on a daily basis is I have a journal, and what this journal is, it's also a goal setting, guidance for me. And you have your schedule for the day, but I wake up and I write 2 things that I'm grateful for.
Okay.
Grateful for having clothes on my body,
Yes.
food, whatever that may be for that day.
Yes.
And then with that being said, there's daily targets that I'll write. What are some of your targets or goals for the day? And throughout the day, I'm looking at that and I'm hitting those. I'm staying focused on that particular day.
Right.
And then at the end, it's, I'm reflecting on what have I learned, what went well with the day, what didn't go so well, and why. What happened throughout the day that I didn't, necessarily get these things done.
Wow.
And then at the end of the night, reflecting and being grateful and having gratitudes as well. So that's just one little trick that I do, is that I do have this daily journal that I use on a daily basis, as well as listening to audiobooks every single night. For me, it's just one of the things that I kind of puts me to sleep and put me to ease.
Yes.
But I'm always learning and always reading, and these audiobooks are just, for me, it's good to hear. It's just good to hear, and it's good to reflect and really wind down at the end of the day. So,
Do you find time to read, or is it just audio?
Oh, both. I think it's, with my busy schedule, and everyone's busy. I get that. Being in business, everyone's always so busy. But I think the most important thing is you have to invest in yourself.
Right.
As much as I want to, spend time and focus on my business, I think your health is as important as well.
Right.
But have fun. I think that's the other thing too, is you have to have fun with what you're doing, because if you're not having fun, what's the point?
So you're good with balancing all the
and I think
life.
that's the difficult thing, is finding that balance that a lot of entrepreneurs run into, is being overworked and really dedicating yourself and burning yourself out, which I've experienced, and that can be difficult. But with that being said, I think it's important to take time for yourself. You have to, and invest in your health. Work out. I work out, daily. For me, you have to. It's just clear the mind and just release all the toxins and just get, a clear vision for the day. Work out, have physical activity. But like I said, it's have fun.
That makes sense. So, how do you push through when the days that you don't want to, get up at work, go to work, or, how do you push through?
I think that's a great question, because I think we all experience that, where we just want to snooze,
Yes.
not get out of bed, snooze. So for me, it's what motivates you. What I think you need to really first figure that out is, what is getting you up every day? Why are you getting out of bed?
Okay.
And with that, that goes back to that self-discipline, please. Having the discipline to get up, to go to the gym, to listen to that audiobook, or to make that phone call that we necessarily don't want to make, or to send that email that I really don't want to write it right now. I think the little things that you do on a daily basis like that, having the self-discipline to do these little things, is what's going to lead to your success over time.
Because you're building habits, right?
Building habits, and I can honestly say the days that I didn't want to go into that certain account or to make that certain phone call is the days that I've had a lot of success,
right,
and have gotten in front of the right individual, and had a great conversation. If I didn't do that, that wouldn't have happened. So
right.
For me, it's just, I'm a firm believer in being disciplined at the little things, and you'll see results.
Okay, so do you ever have those times where you have that inner voice saying don't do it, it's okay, just go to sleep, who cares?
I think we all do. I mean, who doesn't? And I think that's just goes back to the discipline that you need to have for yourself, and that it goes back to that if you have these goals in life, it's for me, it's no one else can want your dream more than yourself.
Yeah.
So you got to take that in consideration,
But you're lucky, because your why, your purpose, and I think the purpose gets you out of bed. You're I have other people to help, I have other people to to empower or educate, or people are relying on me. That there is a bigger purpose, so you can't just hit the snooze button. And sometimes people don't have that bigger purpose, so they don't have that motivation.
Right, and I think it would go back to really figuring out is what's going on in their life or your life that you're feeling this way. You shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. If that's the situation, it's because it's not easy. It's not. For me, it goes back to, again, having that self-discipline, but surrounding yourself with the right people. Who motivate you, who would make you want to get up. For me, it's my team and my employees. It's just that motivates me to get up every day. Aside from my family, and wanting to do well for myself, it's you have to find that inner spark.
Yeah.
You know, what motivates you on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So
I know that you mentioned that you want to build them in order for them to, reach their full potential.
Right.
And do their own thing. How is that going?
For me, I just every employee that comes through compassionate assistance, I have them write down 3 personal goals and 3 professional goals.
Wow.
Everyone says they have goals in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that's the case, let's get them on paper. Let's write these goals down. Let's envision these goals.
Yeah.
And let me help you get there.
Wow.
Because here's the thing. If I can't, I'm sure that I know someone else that can help you get there.
Right.
I told you, I've had students come through who they wanted work. They wanted to go to either nursing school, be a massage therapist. And I knew they weren't going to be with the company long term. But for me, they wanted the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, I took that on. I took that risk of putting that person on my team and putting them with the family, knowing that in 6 months down the road, they weren't going to be with me.
Wow.
Not many companies would do that. They'd be like, "Are you serious? What?"
Right.
Absolutely not.
Right.
But for me, it's just about holding that hand out and saying, "What are your goals?" And let me help you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me help you get that car that you want. Go on that vacation with your family that you've always wanted to go on.
Wow.
For me, it's I just want to help.
What does it make you feel why do you want to do that? You're right. A lot of people won't. They just focus on like how much money they can make.
It's just that fulfilling. You can't really put a price tag on that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see, the smile on somebody's face when they achieve that goal or go on that vacation or get that car you can't put a price tag on it.
So that sounds like you have like a leadership technique. So can you identify like what is a good leader?
For me, I think leadership's really about being passionate. You have to be passionate about what you do and having the confidence, in yourself and the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've told you before, I go back to say it's about the team and the people that you surround yourself with.
Right.
Again, I'm very selective with who I bring on board. There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's about that core. It's about, having the right people in the right places to achieve those goals.
So what are you looking for when it comes to people that, work for you or, is surrounded by you? Like what type of characteristics are you looking for?
Obviously you have to have that determination. For me, I've, someone that just wants to clock in and clock out and just that 9 to 5, that's not who I want on my team.
Right.
I want someone who's going to go above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that wants to be challenged.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who is coachable.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the other thing. You have to be coachable, because if you're not, it's like, what's the point? For me, it's I want someone that's just all about learning, wants to learn more.
Right.
For me, it's I want to help you, get there, and just knowing that each and every individual on my team is a crucial part and a key, matter to my success. The people that you surround yourself with and the people that are in your business are crucial to the success of not only one individual but the business as a whole.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. But you're going to have to really know who you are in order to really reflect on that, right?
Right.
Like you did a lot of reflecting, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have to reflect. But, I tell people and a lot of my employees too is you have to communicate. I cannot help you if you don't help me.
Yeah.
If there's an issue going on, whether it's personal or in business, and you don't tell me about it, how am I supposed to help you?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, you have to be, open to that and let me know so I can help you.
Yeah.
And I think that can be tougher sometimes. A lot of people, they're closed off, and they just don't want to talk about their problems.
Yeah.
But for me, it's, just let's talk. Let me help you.
Yeah.
I want to be able to help you. So helping you help me, that's, you have to. It's.
Well, I am so impressed. You are a very young, knowledgeable, wise, successful businessman. Can you define what success means?
For me, obviously, I think I've experienced, success throughout my life. But with that being said, I've failed over and over and over again. I've fallen flat on my face. I'm one of those people that I have to crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep doing something over and over and over again. Fail until I can finally succeed at that. So with me, I think success is knowing that what you've done, not only helps you, but it helps others, leading that better lifestyle and not settling. Never get complacent in life.
Yeah.
Never. If you're unhappy with your life, whether it's your job, with the way you look, where you are, what you're doing, you have the power to change that. So knowing that and taking action and doing that.
Yeah.
Why don't you?
Right.
So that's
why not?
Right. And I'm a firm believer too in this that money is a true byproduct of success. If you're successful at what you do, the money will come.
Right.
Don't chase the money, because people that do that are just gonna fall flat on your face.
Right.
So if you're successful and passionate about what you do, the money will come. So.
Well, what do you say to those who are okay to just be comfortable and complacent? Some people don't want to reach their the stars and things like that. What do you say to those people?
I'm sorry. I honestly, for me, it's what are you gonna
relate.
do? It's like sometimes it's trying to jam a square peg in a round hole. There's just some people that are out there that are just complacent, that just want to, like I said, clock in and clock out, and they're not meant to be in a management or leadership role, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, some people are meant to follow, right?
That's completely fine with me.
Yeah. But
it goes back to just communicating and identifying what you're good at.
Yeah.
And let me put you at what you're good at.
Yeah.
I don't put you. I don't want to force you to do something you're not good at.
Right.
So that I think goes back. It's. I wish. Everyone's not a leader. And that's just unfortunate. But that you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
But I think it just comes down to what are your goals. In life or with that business, or in that sport that you're doing.
Yeah.
So.
Before we go on break, I do want to ask you this question. What do you want to be known for?
For me, I've been a hard worker my entire life. And it's one of those things where you have to have grit. You have to have the grit in life. You have to be a grinder. I'm just one of those individuals that I will never give up. I'm a fighter. It doesn't matter what you put in front of me, what challenge, what mountain, let's go. Like if there's a challenge, I want to, challenge me.
Right.
I'm always going to play for number one. I'm always going to be the best at what I do. And there's a reason for that.
Right.
So for me, I want to be challenged, and I want to have that grit and determination.
Right.
But I also want to put my hand out and really help others along the way.
So wait, you said you want people to be able to, you want to be number one, right? And so what if people were playing just for the love of the sports? And you're just like, that's not me.
Again, that's okay. That's fine. And, there's a quote that Confucius once said is that he who says he can and he who says he can't, is usually right.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is sometimes.
That's true. Okay. We are going on our break right now, but we'll be back and we'll ask him some more questions. And we're back. I just want to tell you that I am so grateful and so honored that you came here today. You don't even live here, but you're here in the city of power. You're here for a reason, right?
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you for sharing all of
it's
this.
absolutely, and it's been an honor, and I appreciate it, and I hope to come back soon.
Of course you are. We love. I love everything about what you just said. It really inspired me to tap into my entrepreneurial side. And thank you so much for your wisdom, your knowledge, and your presence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. We're back. I just want to introduce you guys to an amazing woman, such an inspirational woman. I love her presence since the first time I met her about 5 years ago. Wow. She's everything that has to do with leadership. So can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I can't believe it's been 5 years. Wow, time really flies.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm from London. I think the accent kind of gives it away.
Yes.
So yeah, I've been working. So obviously my name is Fatma, and I've been working in peace and security. Wow, for the last 6-7 years.
Wow.
And of course, I love it.
Because when I met you, you were in New York City, and then you were just leaving out of the country.
Yeah, so basically,
Wow.
actually, when we met, so I was doing a fellowship at the UN when we met. Wow, that was 5 years ago. And yeah, I was in New York for about 8 months, and I was working at the European Union delegation to the UN, working on human rights issues. So actually, during that time, I was covering one of the biggest resolutions on women called the Commission on the Status of Women,
Wow.
which talks about women in leadership, but also women's right for sexual and reproductive health rights, women's economic empowerment, so everything to do with, womanhood and
Right.
promoting women. So since then, obviously, I've always been passionate.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, when it comes to women, a lot of people, we live in a man's world, and I know we always say it,
Yeah.
but especially I feel like the work that I do in peace and security, I work in a lot of post-conflict countries, so I cover Somalia, Djibouti, Tanzania, Kenya, a lot of Eastern Horn of Africa.
Right.
And in that kind of work, you just see a lot of men, because obviously it's to do with security, it's a complex environment,
Yeah.
there's a lot of insecurity, so you just see a lot of men dominating that space. And I think that it's important to have more women,
Yeah.
especially in that space, but also in all spaces, like really push the boundaries.
No, it makes sense because, like, how can a man just kind of tap into our own mind as
Yeah.
women? How can they really know exactly what we're going through?
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, hey, we need to be in these leadership positions because women can empower women.
Yeah, and when you see it, when women lead, like that's some countries in Africa and other countries in the world, especially Latin America, when you see women in leadership who are like, governing the country, where it's so advanced that we are very dynamic. And that's not to say, I think a lot of the times when people talk about women in leadership or women empowerment, people tend to think, oh, here goes another feminist and is angry at men, which is not the case,
Right.
actually. When I was working, there was a huge campaign we were working on, He for She, which is a UN campaign against violence against women. And the whole point of He for She was the fact that men are also involved in this,
Right,
you know?
right.
It's not to say that they're to open the doors, but it's not to say that it's an equality issue.
Right, right.
And women need to empower one another, and
Right.
especially like not compete with one another. I think the world's big enough and
Yeah.
the industry is big enough to have space for a number of women.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's more about promoting one another, and that's why I'm glad when you reached out. I was like, yeah, I'm so happy to be a part of this,
Oh
you know,
my
especially on your
gosh.
first show. So
Thank
I'm
you so
happy.
much. What a perfect timing.
Yeah.
Because you're just here visiting.
yeah. So it's weird because we haven't seen each other for like 5 years.
Yes, yes.
And
it's the same vibe. It's the same frequency.
yeah,
you know?
exactly. And it's just meant to be. And the fact that I'm in DC, I haven't been to DC since 5 years ago.
Oh
so-
my God.
And I'm here for work, so timing worked out great.
And so I've always said that I'm pro women, but not anti men.
Right.
And that's what you're saying. Because I do think the core of like being anti is hate, and
Yeah.
we're not promoting hate. We're just promoting love and equality, right?
Absolutely. And I think, I think there's a lot of new movements happening now where women are speaking out against issues that they care about. I think we all know some of the things that
Me too, and all that, yes.
I don't want to get political, but it's the fact that women are speaking out on issues that sometimes people are more silent about. I think we're moving in the right direction, but I feel like we have so much to catch up on.
Yeah.
And I think it also to do a lot with yourself.
Yeah.
Like I was reading this book by Sheryl Sandberg on women and leadership, and it talks about like how we also have our own internal barriers,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of times we talk about, the issue is the industry that we're working in, or it's in the sector, or it's in the fact that there's not enough opportunities for women, right? But we don't talk about the internal barriers women have. So, for example, I recently had to negotiate. I was promoted, and I recently had to negotiate
Oh,
for.
wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, I had to recently negotiate like my salary and what I want, and I was obviously reading a lot of like leadership books,
Right.
and trying to learn from those before me and who have a wealth of experience. And
Right.
it talks about like the internal barriers we have. We don't feel comfortable, asking for raises, or we don't feel comfortable demanding a certain position, because I think we're always so conscious of like, is it too forward? Whereas a man doesn't think that way. And I
Right.
think when we talk about leadership and women, we also need to talk about our own internal barriers that we think of, whereas you have to choose being a career woman or, having more of a
Oh,
conventional life,
right.
which is, whereas why can we not do it all? There's so many people who are dynamic, and we're dynamic people, so, and individuals, so.
Why do you think that we don't ask women? as
I
women?
think, okay, so each individual, because
Are
I don't want to be
different.
shut down, but every individual person is different. It depends on your experience, your cultural background, the industry that you work in. I think there's a number of reasons why. My own personal experience was, I'm very conscious, initially when I was very conscious of, I'm still relatively young, and I have gotten a lot of experience with someone of my age group, and perhaps I should wait, and hopefully if I pay my dues, the raise will come. Whereas actually I don't think that's the case, because my male counterpart will probably be like, actually I've got this many years of experience, I can do this job, and if you want me, let's show that you appreciate me by
Right.
incentivizing. And I think it's just a number of reasons. It depends on the background that you've come from. So I don't want to generalize, but I feel like there's a lot of personal development that each of us need to do, and
Yeah.
just try and think of like, what is our aspirations? What
Yeah.
do we want to do? How do we want to get there? And really try and push the boundaries. And to be honest, every conversation is uncomfortable, especially like asking for a raise.
Yeah.
But going through that experience has allowed me, for instance, to feel like, okay, at least I know how to negotiate. And
Right.
next time it happens, it might not be comfortable, but at least I'm challenging myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's all about. It's like,
So when you say like you have to know your own value and your own worth,
Yeah.
does that mean like, okay, you know what you bring to the table and you're ready to leave if they said no?
yeah, but being smart about it.
Okay.
Because it's like playing poker. Someone can call your bluff.
Right.
So it's about really knowing, okay, and value, look at each situation, right? And just be like, what are my red lines? Like, is it that if they don't meet my boundaries, will I just leave? okay, then, and if you have other options, then do so. But it's about being smart about how you go about it. And it's also not about being arrogant either. I think a lot of the times it's a fine balance to strike, right? Because it's like, to what degree am I demanding what I deserve? And to what degree can I think about what I need to learn? So for instance, when I was going through this process, I was putting myself into, it's a book, small book by Harvard called Managing Difficult Conversations. And it allowed me to think through the process of very strategically and very level-headed, like, all right, what will my counterpart say to me? And how can I think about how I'd counter his argument, right? How can I justify my point? So I think if you do your homework and prepare in certain situation, it will allow you to feel comfortable, you know? So
It's like kind of going towards your internal lawyer and then also like taking your emotions out, right? So
Absolutely.
you're thinking about practical and logical arguments.
Yeah. It's like a business transaction. If you're doing a business deal, you won't be thinking about, oh, how does this make me feel or whatever. It's about, okay, knowing your other person's counterpart and what they would say and how would you counter it. But yeah.
So can you give us some tips on how we can say, hey, we want to raise?
Okay, well, first of all, I don't know, I think working backwards, I would say, like, what I do is I always set myself goals, right? So each year, it was just my birthday a couple of days ago.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you. Where I then reflect, all right, so what is my aspirations this year? What do I want to challenge myself, right? So, for example, if I did say, I want to get a promotion, I will focus on what skill set do I need to develop? How do I need to showcase my value? You know, if I was an asset, like how do I make sure that my me as an asset is increasing in value? So I'll do a lot of investment into myself. And then I would be like, okay, right, start lining up the conversation. So I would say if you want a raise, you should ask for it. But before you ask for it, kind of look inwards and think, okay, what do I need to develop to show that I'm worthy as an asset in the company that I'm working with? And do a lot of practice runs. I did a lot of practice runs in front of the mirror and be like, okay, how is this going to go? So I'm saying challenge yourself, you know, and really push the glass ceiling, because if you don't ask, you're not going to get. You can't expect to wait for someone to see your value if you don't see it yourself.
So I have to have this opportunity to ask you because in America or even in DC, you know, we see inequality in a very like community kind of small way. You're living in East Africa. You're learning all of these things. Like, what are they experiencing as women there?
Yeah. First of all, I'm a big advocate of. I live in Kenya, so obviously the dynamic in East Africa is very different in each country. But in Kenya, actually, women are extremely fierce and dynamic. There's so many.
Wow.
There's so many women that are doing amazing work. My family have spent a lot of time in Tanzania, and when I was there, I was helping my aunt with. She runs a hotel company, and we run like a women economic empowerment program. And like you see it, like for instance, Maasai women who are very like indigenous women, they are, you know, they make their own jewelry, they have a lot of entrepreneurial spirit. So I think in Kenya and Tanzania and the countries that I've lived in, women are really fierce, but I think what they're struggling with is participation in politics. So for instance, you know, there are not enough women in leadership or in political position. And I think that's important in order for us to be able to, you know, for it to trickle down at a policy level, you know, how can we ensure that there's equal pay and equal opportunities for women?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So one other question before we have to go.
Oh, wow. Time's already?
I love our conversation.
Yeah,
we can talk forever.
I can definitely talk forever.
First, I want to ask you, why are you so passionate about women? And then secondly, what is your live and learn and pass it on moment?
Why am I so passionate? Okay, so for a number of reasons. I come from a family where there are a majority of women, and they are strong, dynamic, influential, and inspiring women.
Yes.
So I think just being in that environment, my aunt, who I mentioned from Tanzania, she has been awarded like Woman of the Year in business and tourism.
Wow.
So being around that kind of upbringing
Of
and people, you're
course.
just feeling inspired where you're like, okay, how can I push myself, you know? And living past moments is just, I'm a big advocate of empowering one another. I think a lot of the times women feel like they need to compete with one another, or, you know, you need to have an edge on someone else. But like, just be true to yourself and be your own competition, right? There's going to be always so many people who are doing amazing things, and it's so easy to feel jealous. But if you set your own benchmarks, if you set your own challenges, your biggest competition is yourself.
Right.
And you're going to always want to push yourself to be the best version of yourself. So that's something that I live by. That's my mantra, where I'm like, you know, empower one another, but also push yourself and be your own.
I think it starts with yourself.
Absolutely.
So when you're like, you see that, you know, you're a real person, you're authentic, you're able to see that within another person, and you are rooting for the other person to win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's kind of similar to our interaction, right? We met like 5 years ago, and it's like, here we are today. And that's testimony to the type of, you know, allowing that energy and being surrounded by that. And honestly, I'm a firm believer of the law of attraction. I feel like what you put out, you will get back. So, you know, love, don't hate. And
it's almost like as if we just seen each other yesterday.
I know, right?
We're having a moment, guys.
Yeah.
So last question is, what would you, live and learn, pass it on moment?
Wow, that's a difficult one. My live and learn is, you know, just keep being the best version of yourself. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like I'm continuously pushing and learning myself. So passing a moment, I'm like, wow, I'm still trying to figure it out. When I have figured it out, I'll let you know. But I think that if you're continuously always learning and pushing yourself, I don't know, even the next generation, like I look at my younger sister who's 10 years younger than me, I'm like, what would I pass on to you? And then she's so dynamic, and she lives in a different environment. So
it's kind of like, what do you know for sure? You know, like to love yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like you have that though, because you've overcame a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone has their story, and it's like, you know, love yourself, believe in yourself, push yourself. People will tell you cannot make it, or people will perhaps criticize you, but, you know, self-love, a lot of self-love, self-reflection will get you far.
Yes, I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to my first show.
And congratulations to you. This is a milestone.
Thank you.
Keep going.
I love it. Well, you guys heard her story. I hope you guys are inspired. She is a true leader. I admire her so much. And thank you for watching.
Thank you.